Welcome to this series of webinars by Wialon. It's a beautiful day in Boston, sunny. I hope whenever you are, it's sunny as well. And today's topic is managing driving behavior in Wialon. And as you may know, we also know this feature as eco-driving. So just a little bit finish up here. For different factors that influence eco-driving in general. As you know, it's maintenance, excess weight, harsh driving behavior. In Wialon, we are talking about eco-driving in conjunction with harsh driving behavior. And today's agenda for driving behavior will be: what is eco-driving? Key parameters of eco-driving in unit properties. And we also will take a look into eco-driving or driving behavior report. And we will also have a practical exercise where I build a report together with you guys so you can see how it's happening in real life. So without further ado, what is eco-driving? In a modern and efficient, eco-driving is a modern and efficient way of driving that emphasizes fuel efficiency, speed, and safety. Wialon system possesses the functionality that allows to receive an assessment of driving quality. And this particular functionality is helpful for you as the fleet manager to evaluate how a driver treats the entrusted vehicle. And as a result, you can improve safety of driver and prolong the life of your vehicle, reduce fuel costs, and ensure that the safety of your cargo. So next part, actually going into details of eco-driving and eco-driving key parameters of eco-driving. And the most important one, we are starting from eco-driving tab in unit properties. It's where you should indicate the parameters used for penalty scoring. And to add the eco-driving criteria, you can choose one of the two options. Either you can use a preset of one of the available templates, or you can customize your own. And for preset criterion, whether it's an added one or created based on acceleration, braking, turn, and reckless driving, this criterion is only reliable with a certain type of devices in accordance with special parameters which contain values for the period between the messages. I want to particularly emphasize this part that only some devices can transfer these parameters. And you can find this all devices that were configured with the eco-driving functionality on our hardware page. When you go to Gurtam and go to hardware tab, and right here you can see eco-driving. When you check this box, you will get a list of all hardware that has eco-driving functionality. And please also keep in mind that the recommended report frequency for an accurate eco-driving detection is 2 to 3 seconds. And when you use this preset criterion, your table, eco-driving tab, can look something like this. So that's for presets. However, for devices that don't have preset eco-driving parameters, but they have a built-in accelerometer or G-sensor, a custom criterion can be used. And before we are going, you see custom here, and before we go into details for custom, we need to do a little bit workaround before. So the first requirement for using the custom criterion is to have the correct sensor setup. And as you all know, sensor tab is here. In most of the cases, such devices are reporting the harsh driving behavior events in a certain event type. And here you can also see I just combined a couple of examples of harsh acceleration and harsh braking codes for some of the popular devices such as Xirgo OBD, GNX 506, or Wialon OBD. And you see different parameters for harsh braking and harsh acceleration can be event code, reason code, harsh behavior with a certain number. So based on these codes, you should be able to build custom digital sensor. Let's say harsh acceleration. So I have an example of harsh acceleration. It's a custom digital sensor, and metrics are on off. And we know the parameter is event code. And we also know that event for harsh acceleration is 6006. So based on this, we build this sensor, and we know that when this event is happening, it means 1. That's why going a little bit further, our webinar, the minimum and maximum value, that's where it comes from the sensor for harsh acceleration. So coming to key parameters, coming back to eco-driving and a custom criterion and key parameters. The key parameters are, as you see, name, sensor with a minimum and maximum value, and penalty value. Additional parameters as well include validator, averaging, minimum and maximum, duration, and speed. For the name, you name your criterion and as you want. It's up to you. For the sensor part, and that's why we covered in the previous slide, that's you set your sensors before, and in the breakdown list, you will have number of sensors. And I want to build my criterion based on harsh acceleration. So I choose my harsh acceleration sensor. And that's where I also put violation from device. And this checkbox must be activated for all devices that report eco-driving events in additional messages. And for example, an event that device recognizes as violation of harsh behavior will be taken into consideration in our future report. And as I mentioned again before, minimum maximum value for harsh acceleration, I want to let the system know when this behavior is happening. The trigger is 1 in a range. And for penalty, it's a number of penalty points charged for the violation of such type. And normally, in general, how partners do it, the more severe violation is, the more penalty is. And we also recommended to have it in thousands, and we cover this point a little bit further. It will be easy for you to calculate the rank and the value of your violation. So just keep in mind, better do it in thousands rather than like 1 to 3. And as I mentioned before, some of the advanced parameters are also visible on the right side, but today we will focus on averaging. And when you go, you will see a drop-down menu. There is 3 options for averaging, none, by mileage, and by time. So when averaging is disabled, is none, the penalty points received for the trip are simply summarized. So the bigger the trip interval is, the more violations can be registered. However, this method does not work for everyone, and it's also possible to connect penalties with the time or mileage intervals and receive the average value of penalty points for the interval. Because not every single driver of your fleet is driving the same mileage or the same amount of time. You can have drivers that are driving interstate for thousands of miles and have a local delivery guy who is driving a couple of miles a day. So it won't be fair to judge and give penalties on the same level for both of them. So when you have averaging by mileage, the total amount of penalty points is divided by the mileage of the trip. And as a result, we receive the average amount of penalty points for every kilometer or mile of the trip. And same logic goes averaging by time. The total amount of penalty points for the trip is divided by the duration of the trip, and we receive the average amount of penalty points for every minute of the trip. And by this logic, you can build different criterion: harsh acceleration, harsh braking. And if you build it might look something like this on the right side. So you have acceleration, braking, some speeding, you have penalty points. So, and that's basically what you can do for your eco-driving tab. But as a result, when we just built an eco-driving tab, we also want to have a report, eco-driving or driving behavior report, so you can see in real life the breakdown of your fleet, who is driving, how, and what violations are happening with your drivers. And as a logic, for every single report in Wialon, you are going to Reports panel, you press New button, and I advise you immediately to name your report. Otherwise, you will have a lot of new template reports. It happened to me before. So just a small hint. And then you choose the report type. I want to have it for different cars and different groups of my drivers. So I choose unit group. And then I click New Table. Then we are going to select a table type. As you know, there are different variations of table types. And in this case, for driving behavior report, we need to choose eco driving. And you can also rename it here as an eco driving behavior. Oh, sorry, driver behavior. And then you need to choose number of columns that you want to indicate in this report. Let's say I want to know violation, so it will be violation name. I want to know when it happened, time. As a reminder from our previous webinar, when you see this arrow with enhanced color, it means this column was renamed. And I believe the original name for this was beginning. So I just renamed it time. And then I want to know where it happened, the location. I want to also see in my report how many miles or kilometers my driver drove. I want to see penalties. I want to see a rank, and I also want to see rating by violation. So let's say if I have a fleet of 20 drivers, I can also see who is the best one and who is the worst. And then next, we are going to settings of the report, and I want to select sorting by violations. So again, I know who is the best, who is the worst. And then I want to group my report by a unit. And I'm also indicating my settings as detalization. Remember, we have a unit group, raw numbering, and total. Also, some of the interesting moments to indicate further in your report, it's score-based rating color. But before I'm going to this visual feature, I will need to explain what the rank is and what the score-based system is. And in Wialon, the system allows to recalculate the received penalties that you indicate in your eco-driving tab and unit properties into a 6-point evaluation system. So that's how it looks like. And the following algorithm is used. If we use averaging, and in our example, we used averaging by mileage. If we use the average, the total value is the value of dividing the total number of scored penalty points by the number of kilometers or miles intervals in a trip. So that comes back to an idea to have a fair report. We cannot judge every single driver who are driving different mileage the same. So, and the system recalculates it in a rank system, and the lower the rank, the higher rating by violations. So coming back on our settings, score-based rating color, it's a visual feature that will help you to see who is the best and who is the worst based on color. So I won't tolerate harsh driving behavior, so I indicated from 1 to 4. 1 to 4, it's pretty much a lot of penalties. I want to see a red color in my report. And then mild is orange, and my best drivers, I want to see them in green color. So that's basically the end of the report. And if you did everything right, that's how your report should look like. So you see right here, I choose my driving behavior report. I wanted to see a couple of different groups, and I choose 3 groups of my drivers, and I wanted to know how did they drive during the months of June, previous months. And here you see all my drivers, all my trucks, all my cars, and you see a breakdown that we indicated, time, location, mileage driven, how many penalties each car / each driver had, the rank, coming back to our system ranking, that's where the rank is, and also you see rating by violations accompanied by a color. So you see the best driver, number 1, also has a green color and a 5.9 rank, and the worst is number 9 with a 3.4 rank. And when you go to detalization, you want to see the detail breakdown of one of the drivers or one of the cars. You can see the violation type. So we here happened harsh left turn and harsh acceleration. We see when it happened, location, and penalties that we assigned for this particular violation type. And overall, you see that the overall rank is 3.9. So that's basically it for the report. And now we can go and build the report in real life. So again, as a reminder, you go into Reports tab, you click New, you choose your resource, and I choose Unit Group, and moment. Filing. And I have a new table. So a new table, you choose a type, and it's right here, eco driving, and you see the name also changed, but I'm gonna keep it the same. And there's also, the system gives you a hint now. You have to select columns. Before, it's a new feature, got introduced last month. Right now, the system, we need to change columns. So violation, name, beginning. Remember, I want to rename it as a time. So you just click on it and time. I want to know the location. Again, the color was changed. I want to see penalties, rank, and the mileage. Again, as a reminder, you can move these columns up and down as you want, and rating by violations as well. So let's put it like this. And we are going to settings. In settings, I want to have rating by violations to know the best driver first. And then I want to add grouping by unit. Click detalization, raw numbering, total. And our visual feature is here, score-based rating color. You can click here and play around. So I won't be so nice to my drivers and really just red, okay. And again, you can change color and 5 to 6. So that's how it looks like. And you click OK. Looks like the report is ready. You click OK as well. And now we can execute. Check different fleet or groups. I want to see this for the previous months. So while the report is generated, I want to mention one thing that you will see in a second in the report, and that could also help you to make it easier to comprehend. So you see in the report, you see units, you see rankings, and when you scroll down, you also see some units that either did not drive that month, didn't have any violations. So I don't want my report to have some units that do not have any data. So for clear view, for me, again, it's a personal preference, you can go to settings and choose skip empty rows, click OK, and you execute again. And now your report should only contain those drivers, those units that actually had violations, had some data for our particular report. Voila. So that's only 9 cars right now. And you have time, location, you have mileage. So you see that one of the best drivers actually drove a lot, while these guys did not drive that much but have a lot of penalties. So that's, you see in real life how the averaging by mileage works. And you see the rank also accompanied by a color and number. And for detalization, again, you click and you see different options for acceleration, turn, penalties, and overall rating is 7 and overall rank is 3.9. So that's basically it for our report, how we build it, what we do with it. And thank you again for watching, and looking forward to see you again in our next webinar in August. Thank you for staying with us and have a great day.